but then we just ever want to appreciate and encourage everyone to interact with each other as much as possible, since we are already in an online mode. So there are restrictions to, I mean, the level of interactions that we can have here. Cool. So I hope if not all, some of you were able to like download R and install it successfully. And if you haven't already, don't worry, it's a good time to begin and just install R and R Studio on your software, and we are good to go. So I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Pooja, can you confirm this? Pooja or Munna?
Yeah, we can see it.
Great. So, okay, can you also see my cursor?
Yes.
Cool. So to begin with, I'm just going to give you a brief demo of what entails, I mean, what is under our studio, what does it consist of, what are the different tabs that we are going to be seeing here, what are we going to work with, and to do simple calculations, simple commands in R. And don't worry, no prerequisite is required for this session, as it's just a getting started session. So and in between, if you have any doubts, do feel free to ask in the comment section, and my colleagues will just stop me and tell me about the questions, and we'll sort them out here as well. So please do not hesitate to ask any questions if you have any, in case in the middle of the session. And yeah, so to begin with, I'm just gonna show you. So this is how it looks, our studio. And you're gonna see the four sections here, right? You are seeing four sections here. And now we are just going to start with like how to load our script. So Pooja, can you confirm if you can see these tabs that I'm opening up?
Yes, I can see
Can you?
the R script option and menu.
Sure, sure, sure. So anything that we work with in R, we work in a script form. So what does a script mean? A script is just a page, like a notebook, like a page in a notebook where we write some things, right? And this is kind of saved as a file on your laptop or devices that you're using as with an R extension. So this is a R data file, like R file. So this is a R script file. So what you do is you just click on this plus button at the top, and then you open this new R script. And as you can see, there are two tabs here. The one demo script, R demo script one, was something that I made previously, and the untitled one is something that I just loaded, just loaded, right? And if I want, I can just press Command S or Control S in Windows. I'm using Mac, by the way, and I just need to write something here. Let's say I just wrote, "Hey, how are you?" And then I can just click on this button. But I think this won't save anything because this does not have a command as such. So we're just gonna get you acquainted with the software first, and then we can just go ahead with the saving and loading of scripts, right? So the one that you see here, the one that I'm scrolling in right now, it's called a script view. This is where you'll see all of your commands and everything. And now the one where I'm pointing right now, this is a console, and this will have the output of your scripts. So let's say if I select 2 plus 5, if I run it, it's going to give me the output as 7, right? So your console will show you the output, right? And then on the right hand side, can you see this message where it's written environment is empty? This is the side where you'll see all of your variables and data sets as well. And now we are going to come back to all of this later so that it becomes clear while practicing. And the one on the bottom right, one second. The one on the bottom right, it's basically the area for your packages, for your plots, for any files that you're loading, and other options, right? So RStudio is a comprehensive, I mean, tool as such, and a platform where you can do a lot of things, a lot of amazing things, right? So let's get started with this. Now we are done with this part where we get to know about the environment. I told you about the console, about the script. Now let's get to know R, right? What can we do in R, right? That's the most exciting part that we are here for. So you need to understand that R works in so many amazing wonderful ways. The But in the most basic sense it can work as a calculator, of course. So I have this command that I have written, 2 plus 5, right? So it's a very simple command that I've written, a code line. And to run this, what I can do is I can do this in many ways. I can just select this and I can press on the run button here. Can you all see this run button? So I can just press on this and the console will give me the output. So 2 plus 5 is 7, right? And then there is another calculation where I'm using minus as an operator. So 2 minus 5 is minus 3, right? And what I can do is another way to do is also alt plus enter. But in Mac, you have to do it as command plus enter, I guess. Yeah. So to divide, we use this operator. Um, the and this line thing as an operator. So the slash is being used as an operator here to divide. So 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. And then we can also have a division method, and we can also find the remainder also. So let's say if 6 is divided by 4, which is done by using two of these symbols, the percent symbols. So let's see what we get 2. So if we divide 6 by 4, we get the remainder 2. So I mean, these are the basic calculations that you can do in R. In the most crude way, R can be used as a calculator. And I mean, most of everyone who uses R does not use it for a calculator as such, but this is just to show you the amount of flexibility and the range that comes with R. You can do the most simple functions as well, and you can do the most advanced functions in R as well. So the kind of compatibility, the kind of functions it gives you is amazing, is enormous, right? That's why it's one of the most accepted, I mean, widely used software across social sciences, hard sciences, pure sciences, right? All of them. So now, then there is this class of operators that we call logical operators. So this includes greater than symbol, less than symbol, right? So let's say what happens here. So if I type 5 less than 6, right? So let's see what R gives me if I select this. Also, to if I'm using command plus enter, I don't need to even select this. I just come at the end of the line and I can just press command enter. And in your if you're using Windows, you need to press alt and enter. But please try and let me know if that works or not. So if I do this, R tells me that this is true. 5 is indeed less than 6, right? If I say is 2 greater than 1, let's see what happens. So R tells me true, right? Now, there is one more thing which is quite crucial to using R is there are two forms in which you are using R, right? One is to type in commands and code lines that you can see do come in this default color of blue, dark blue, right? Sometimes gray also if you're using some operators. And then there are these lines in color like color green, right? So these are the comments. So what happens is when we write, when we do data analysis or when we load some data set in R, it's always recommended and appreciated that you comment out, your actions and your steps. So for example, if I am, let's say, loading a data set, so I can just write a comment using a hash key, and I can just write loading the data set XYZ. Please note that this is not a command as such. This is just a comment to help others understand what have you done actually in your data analysis process, right? This will help others understand the steps that you have taken or any kind of input that you feel is important for them to understand, right? So let's say I can just give a note here as well. Please download the data set from XYZ website, right? So this is just a comment. So to write a comment, you need to use a hash key, right? And if I just remove the hash key, this becomes like a piece of code, and R tells you instantly that this is wrong, right? There is something going on here which is wrong, right? And I'm just gonna remove this. Now moving on. Till now, do you have any questions? Pooja and Munna, can you see any questions?
In the chat box, so far there are no questions.
Okay, cool. Then we are good to go. Also, please do not hesitate to ask any questions, as I've said this before. I'm reiterating on it. And also, I we understand that this is a new beginning for a lot of you. Please do not get overwhelmed. If you get overwhelmed at any point, do reach out to all of, like, three of us. And just know that this is a good place to begin and try out all these commands in R. And if you want to try something else also, you can do that to begin with. So now we are going to talk about variables. So throughout your data science journey, data analysis journey, and your experience with R, you're going to use variables at one point. They are crucial in this data analysis journey. Now, variable is something that is assigned some value as such, right? So anything that is being assigned of value, right? So let's say I have this variable. It's called NES, right? I'm just going to remove it and I'm just going to type it again. So this is a variable that I want to create. So I'm just going to write the variable name first without any hash, right? Because this is not a comment. This is me writing the script, right? This is me writing a piece of code, right? So MES is the name of the variable that I'm creating. Also note that one thing in R, do not create variables. Do not put spaces in the variable name. So for example, if I want to create MES1, I shouldn't do this, right? This is not a good practice to do. It should be MES1 without any spacing, right? So this is one thing to keep in mind. So let's say coming back to a variable. So let's say I want to create a variable NES, right? So I will just type the variable, maybe put a space or something, and then I use less than symbol and then followed by a minus, right? So this is called the assignment operator in R, right? This is going to be used whenever you are assigning any value to any variable. So I'm just going to repeat this again. To create a variable, just type down the desired name of the variable, followed by less than symbol and a minus symbol, right? So this combined is used as a assignment operator in R, right? Now the kind of values that I can assign to a variable, they are also dependent on the nature of these values. So I can also have let's say a message. Let's say hello everyone, right? So this can be a message. So just note that this is a character message, right? This is not an integer as such. This is not a number, and this is just these are just words. So this will be assigned as a character, right? So this the type of this variable is a character, right? And whenever I need to write a string, so let's say here, hello everyone is called a string here. So I can just maybe comment this out. Uh, hello everyone is a string, right? Right. And how do I make sure that it's a string? By using the inverted commas, right? So I'll just type this and hello everyone, right? If I write this without this, it does not work as a string. It does R does not accept it, and R tells you instantly that something is wrong here, right? So you have to put this in inverted commas, and as soon as you do this, this becomes green in color, and it tells you that it is a string, right? It is something which is not to be treated as an integer or a number as such. This is something which is a string, right? So this is a collection of alphabets, right? So let's say I do this, and then I can just run this command by pressing Command and Return on Mac and Alt and Enter on Windows. So I'm just going to do this by clicking on Run button here. So as you can see on console window, R has taken this as a variable, as something which is valid. There is no issue here, right? And let's say I want to see, right, what is in MES. Let's say I want to print, in like what is the value contained in the variable MES, right? So what I can do is I can just write print, and this is one of the basic commands in R, and I can just open the bracket and I can just write the variable that I want to print, right? So if I just run this, so can you all see the output that you get is hello everyone, right? So this was the value that you assigned to this variable. Let's say I changed some kind of value here. Hello everyone, I'm Ritik Gupta, that's my name. And if I rerun this, it's going to change the value of the variable again. And if you print the variable again, it's going to give you the updated value of the variable. Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Ritika Gupta, right? And now a good way, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Someone in chat box was asking to explain the variables. Again, their net went away. So,
Okay.
sure
Is it
if
possible that if you can maybe watch the recorded session, or
yeah,
if you haven't understood
you
anything, I can
can
just.
you can again watch the recorded session. It is there. So because we have a time limit here, so and there is a lot to cover. Which,
Right. So I'll just repeat it anyways. It won't take much time. So a variable is anything that is being assigned a value. In R, how you assign a variable is, let's say I have a variable V. You just type down the name of the variable, right? And it's a good practice to not have spaces in the variable name. So I shouldn't write, let's say, V1 like this. V1 like this is a good practice, right? So how I can assign a variable in R is just write down the variable name and use the less than operator followed by a minus operator, and just type down your value, right? So a value can be a character, a string, a collection of alphabets, or it can be an integer as well, a list also. I mean, there are so many other kinds of, I mean, variable types that we'll come back to later when we are doing later sessions. But right now, let's say I want to assign it a string, right, which is a collection of alphabets, let's say. So I can just write, how are you, right? And then I can just select this and run this command, right? So R tells you that this command has been accepted and there are no issues here. And V1 variable has been assigned the value, how are you, right? So let's say if I want to print this value, I can just do that too by using the command print, and I put the variable name in the brackets, right? So if I do this, it gives you the value, how are you, right? Now moving on, I hope it's clear to everyone. Now just understand that commenting is very, very important, and I personally cannot stress on it enough. Commenting really, really helps your colleagues and everyone that is looking at your script to understand what have you done and what is the reasoning behind each and every step, right, that you have taken. Now, whenever you create a variable, it's also a good practice to know what is the type of this variable. So let's say to know that, I can just use this type of command, this type of, and also note one thing: when you type the command, when you type the command for function, when you type the function, let's say type of is a function in R, right? So R will automatically give you suggestions that what are you trying to get at. So let's say there are all these functions that have typ, at the beginning, right? Type, right? So R tells you that these are the functions that you can use, maybe, right? So let's say I want to use type of, right? So it tells you the type of an object in R. So any variable is an object here again. So let's say if I write mes, type of mes, it tells you it's a character, right? Now let's say I want to create a variable which has integer as a value assigned to it. So what I do is I just make a variable demo list. So as you can see here, again, I did not leave any space. If you want, you can use underscore or dash also, that works in R, but please do not leave any spaces in your variable name. So I wanted to create a variable name called demo list. So I just wrote it like this, and then less than symbol, and then followed by a minus symbol. And this combined again is called the assignment operator in R. And then what I do is I just type, let's say if this works out or not, right? Right. So this does not work in R because if there are more than one numbers, they have to be contained in a list, right? So I have to maybe use these. And in R, if you're using more than one number, you have to put a C there as well. So it's like a collection of different numbers, right? So this is how you create a list of numbers in R, right? By using C and putting in whatever number you want in the brackets, right? In the rounded brackets, and this will work, right? And let's say if I want to print this list, I can just do that by print bracket open and then the name of the variable there, right? So it will show you that the list is this, right? And again, if I want to check the type of this list, it can be done and it will tell you this type is double, right? So double is nothing. It just tells you that it's a list, and it can work as number, it can work as number numeric form as well, right? So that's the way. Don't get confused by this. Now, another way of adding number is I can just open bracket, and if I want to add, let's say, all the numbers from 1 to 10, right? So I can just write 1, and it's quite tedious to type in all the numbers from 1 to 10. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10, right? It's quite tedious. So one way to do this in R is you can just write the smaller number, the starting point of your list, and followed by a colon. And let's say I want all the numbers from 1 to 100, right? So I can just put this, the endpoint, the starting point followed by a colon, and then the endpoint. And if I run this, let's say, let's print this out. So R is going to show you all the numbers from 1 to 100, right? And this is part of this variable called demo list, right? So don't worry, we are going to use these simple operators again and again, and you'll be able to understand them better over practice trials. Now, this section is done. Any questions in this section, in the section of variables and how do we assign variables and how to print them and understand their type and stuff? Any questions here?
There are no questions in the chat box so far.
Okay, so let's continue. Now let's talk about data sets in R, right? So and if you're working with if you're working on R, there are, most of the time you'll be working with some data set unless you are practicing some simple commands in R, right? So most of the time you'll be using some form of data, right? As scientists, as students of psychology, and other disciplines, right? We come across data in all forms in our everyday life, in our everyday tasks, activities, right? We are dealing with some form of data in everything that we do, right? And what, no matter what field we are in, right? So just understand that you can load any form of data in R, right? That's what it's for. And there are two ways in which you can do that. If you want to explore some pre-existing data sets in R, so R as a tool comes with a lot of already installed packages and some data sets. So you can do this by, you can just see what are the data sets that are already contained in R that you can play around with. If you, especially in your, if you are in your learning phase, I would really recommend to check out these preloaded data sets that already come with the with R as a software, R Studio as a software. And how you can check them out is by typing data and just putting the brackets, right? You can just select this and run this command. So it gives you a list of all the R data sets, that come with the package data sets, right? So these are all the packages that are for you to use to try your hands on, and you can load them by, let's say, data set, right? And if I want to, let's say, get this data set CO2, I can just select this, just type it. Let's say, let's see if this loads. 1 second. Yeah. So to load this data set, what you have to do is you just have to type data sets and just press this colon twice, and it will give you like a list of all the data sets that you want to load. Let's say I want to load CO2. So I can just like run this, right? So as you can see, this data set has 4 columns: plant, type, treatment. I think this is concentration, and then uptake, right? Don't worry about this. This is just to show you that there are some already pre-existing data sets in R. And if you want to just try them out, check them out, use some commands there, and just to see what is a data set as such, you can just see them and just look at them, right? Now, one of the most important things about R is you can always load your own data set, right? So how you do this is by using this console on the right hand side, right? By the way, I told you before that we'll come back to this. So whatever variables that I've assigned values to, you can see them here on the right hand side, right? So let's say if I change this variable, coming back to a variable section, so let's say if I write demo list 2, right? If I want to update this variable as demo list 2 compared to demo list, right? So I can do so by reassigning the value, and you can see this creates a new variable on the right hand side, which tells you that there are four variables created in your R environment as of now, and these are v1, mes, demo list 2, demo list, right? And it also tells you about the type of these variables, right? So for example, under demo list we had numbers from 1 to 100, and then we again updated it, right, from 1 to 100. So it is a list of integers from 1 to 100, and mes is just a string, and same goes for v1, which is again a string as well, right? Now coming back to our data sets, so what you can do is you can just click on this button, import data sets, and you have a range of flexibility, a range of flexible options to begin with here. So you can, if you have your data set in Excel, if you have your data set in CSV file, if you have your data set, let's say in any other, R extension also, you can read it from here. Let's say if I select this, can you see the pop-up that has come up? Is it visible?
It is visible.
Okay, so what I did was I'll just cancel it again. I'll start the process again. So just to load the dataset that is existing, that is downloaded on on my device, what I need to do is I just need to click on import dataset, and maybe click on from text read R option here, and then I can just browse, right? So let me just show you. 1 second. Hmm, why is this hanging? 1 second. Hmm. Let's say I just need to type. Usually this works, but let me just see this date. Okay. Yeah. So usually R opens up. I don't know why is this not opening right now, but R usually opens up this folder view where you can just select the folder that you want to import the dataset from, and you can just select that. If possible, you can also write the address here. So let me just go to the file and just copy paste the address here. Just give me 1 second. Run ship data files, and then get info. This is the, okay, got it. Cool. So I've just copy pasted the path. So this is the path, and the file name is uh, let's say if this works, right? Yeah. So usually when you click on the browse button, it usually opens up the folder view, but I don't know what happened here. But yeah. So another way to do this is just copy paste the path to the folder. So here it was contained in a folder called internship data files, and then the file name is am_01.csv. So as you can see, this is in the CSV format, comma separated value format. So this is the data set I'm going to be loading. And as soon as you put the path here, R shows you the like a preview of the data of the entire data set here. And then what you can do is you can just click on import, right? Right. So now you have successfully imported a data set in R. As you can see, it's huge. So it has 1200 entries. So R in your preview, R will only show you the first, let's say, 50 to 100 entries as such, right? If it's a huge data set. So this is another way. This is one way to import your data set. And what I like to do is I just can you see this can you see this command in the console section, right? So this was the output, and R gives you some preliminary information such as number of rows are 1200, columns are 7, and then the delimiter, which is being used to make different columns and to separate different columns, is this comma. So that's why it's called comma separated values as such, right? So comma is used as a delimiter here to put it in separate columns. And now what you can do is just maybe just copy paste it from here. And now what we have done is we have actually used some functions already here to import a data set. But it's a good practice to just copy paste the command from console section and just put it here. So the command would be, let's say if I want to create a variable that says data set, let's say ds, what I can do is I can just write my assignment variable here. After typing out the variable name desired, I can just write if the file is in CSV format, CSV here. And then as you can see, I can just put the path here, right? So if I'm just putting the whole path here, right? This is another way to do this, right? You can just type it out and maybe run this, right? So it's gonna give you the same result, right? And if I, let's say, if I just type ds, right? If I type print ds, like what we have done with the previous variables, now it's going to show you the whole data set, right? So it no longer, I mean, it works as a variable. Everything that you put on the right hand side of this assignment operator works as a variable now. But now ds works more than that, right? Ds is no longer just working as a variable, it is also working as a data set as such, right? It has columns, it has values. I mean, these values have meanings pertaining to the particular row, right? So one way you can do is, so as you can see, once I print this, it only shows me the first top 10, the first 10 values. And it also gives you this information that with 1190 more rows and abbreviated variables, reaction time, it gives you all this information that you may learn to appreciate, with your throughout your time and effort at using R. Now, if I want to view this data set in its full capacity in a, let's say, in a separate tab, what I can do is I can just write view with a capital V, and then I can just open the brackets and just write ds here, and I can just run the command, and it opens up this data set ds in a new tab, right? And you can just scroll down and see all the different values, right? And all the different columns, right? So this data set that I created during one of my internship projects, it has condition, then target letter, distract letter two. So this was a modified flanker task that we use to understand attention capacity of individuals, right? And yeah, so this was one way in which you can load data sets. Now, coming to the next section, do you have any, in case if anyone has any questions, please let me know right now in the dataset section. Do you have any questions, anyone?
No questions so far, Ansha.
Okay, let's move on. Now now
Ritik, just 1 second. I think I heard someone say something.
okay,
Was
please
someone
go ahead.
trying to unmute? All right. So I think we can move forward.
Sure. So one of the things that we can now discuss is are like packages, right? Packages in R. So what are packages? Why do we need them? I mean, why are we even discussing them, right? So we need to understand that R as a device, R as a studio, I mean, R Studio as a tool. It can only come in handy when you use certain, I mean, functions, right? So functions make our life easier. Instead of, let's say if I want to do average of five numbers, instead of writing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus, let's say, 7 plus, I mean, 8 plus 7 divided by 5, I mean 4, So this gives you an average, which is 15.75, right? So, but then this is tedious and time consuming, and with large data sets, something like this is not possible, like manual typing of what we want to do. So what R has done is there are different functions in R that you can use. They're already preloaded in different packages. And a collection of these functions is known as package in R, right? So when I say let's load this package, I mean a bundle, a collection of these functions that we are going to be using, right? So instead of doing this, which is a very redundant way, I can just type it out here also. Redundant way. Let's say if I just write, so there is already this function mean, right? If I just write mean of 1, 2, 3, 8, let's say if this works or not. 1 second, I think I need to. Right. So this is, yeah, I think we need to apply the basic concepts of body mass here. 15, 18, cool. Let me just, yeah, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 8, 7. I just need to write 5 here. And I get 4.2. Let's see, what do I get here, right? 4.2, right? So what I can just do is I can just write mean and open up the brackets. I can just write C, and all the numbers that I need here is 1, 2, 3, 8, 7. And when I run this, R just gives me the same result, that is 4.2. Now, a better way of doing this is just to put these numbers, in a variable. Let's say M. I wrote the number. I wrote the variable name M, the desired variable name M. Then I used the assignment operator, which is less than symbol followed by minus symbol. So this combined thing again is called an assignment operator. And what I did was I just made a collection of numbers into, let's say, something else. Or let's go with the same thing, maybe 3, 8, 7, right? So this is now assigned as a variable, and you can see on the right hand side also in the environment view that this is now a variable. What I can just do simply now is mean of M, right? Let's say, so it gives you the same result, 4.2, right? This is a better way of doing this, right? So I can just maybe write this down here. And remove this, right? So this is one way in which you can do this. Now, yeah. Now we were discussing about packages and how to install them. So whenever you use R, there are some packages that are already installed, the base packages, right? And but then mostly for a lot of other functions, you will have to install some packages, right? And the best way to do is, if you don't know about certain package and what kind of function will it have, you can go on our and Cran's website. You can get any information on any package that is created for R there, and you can just type, if you think that is confusing, you can just type it on Google and search for a package. But here now, how to install it in R? We just click on this package section here, and maybe we can just expand this thing a bit, right, on the bottom right corner. So as you can see, there are some base packages that are already loaded. Let's say base package here, it's loaded, right? So the ones where you see a tick mark against, these are the packages that are already loaded in R, right? So datasets is loaded, and you can see there are so many packages that contain a lot of functions in R. And you can see this short description of these packages. For example, this package, which is a bind, has it is, the description is combined multidimensional arrays, right? So it just tells you the description in brief, and also gives you this version number, like what version is this that you're using, right? So yeah. And how to install it is, you can just click on this button, install. And this is a manual way of doing this. I'll also show you the way in which you can do it in your R script by typing out a command, right? Here, what you can do is you can just search for, let's say, a package. So today I'm going to be using dplyr, for example. So dplyr, and dplyr is a great package if you want to understand pre-processing, manipulate your data, shift columns here and there, you know, just manipulate your data sets and work with them. So what you can do is, if you type in your desired data set, desired package here, you can just type in the name here, and it's going to show you the package, right? And you can install it, right? So R sometimes will give you this warning, and I don't want to restart, so I can just say no, right? And then now R is running. So now it's asking me in the
Ritik,
console. Yes.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. So we can't see the pop-ups that's coming on your screen. So maybe you can repeat what you said previously about the pop-up about restarting our, so we all
Okay.
understand.
No, no worries. So sometimes what happens is, if a package involves, a lot of other packages that need to be installed for its dependency, right? So don't worry about all of this. We are going to come back to it later. But I'm just telling you that there was a pop-up which is not important to be discussed right now. But it just asked me to, if you want to restart R, because this is a heavy package that involves a lot of updates, right? So if I would like to do that, and I just clicked on no, right? I don't want to restart R, right? Because I'm just in the middle of a presentation, that's why. So don't worry, it wasn't a huge deal, and it was just a small pop-up that asked me if I want to restart R or not, right? And I said no. So when I do this, R asks me, do you want to install it from sources the package which needs compilation, right? So if I just write yes, so it installs, right? Can you all see the lines, the code lines, lines of code that are now involved in installing? Cool. So now R has installed this package, and it gives you this information that the downloaded source package is in this place, right? So now what I can do is I can just use the functions, any function that I have to use, which is contained within the package dplyr, right? So now another way, now what I can do is, so I can just also install this package by using my script view here. I can just type out certain commands here to do this. If I don't want to go through this entire process of manually installing a package, what I can do is, first I just need to remove this package. So a simple command in R is remove dot packages, open it, then put your package name in double inverted commas, let's say dplyr, and so this tells you that the installed package is removed, right? So removing package, right? So from the library, we have removed this package, right? Now, if I want to install this package, earlier I showed you the manual way of doing it. Now I'll just show you the code view of doing it. So what you can do is just select this, run. And again, the pop-up has come up, which has asked me to restart R, but I'll just tell it no. Right? So, so now it asks me again the same thing, right? So again, the same process, right? So there are two ways of installing packages in R, to summarize. First, you can do the manual way by clicking on install button here, and then you can just type out the package name there and install it, right? And the another way is to use the code view, where you can just type out install.packages as I've written here, and put the package name in double inverted commas in R, right? In the code view in your script, right? So as you can see, this is again downloaded. And if you want to remove a package, you can just write remove.packages dplyr, right? You can just remove it, right? Now, there are two things here, right? Once I install a package, I have to load it also, right? So installation means that in my system library here, the package is present, right? And can you see the tick marks here, right? That I showed you before. So these are the packages that are loaded. So right. So there is a difference, right? So in your system, there might be packages that are existing, just like all these packages from a bind to zoo, I don't know what that is, but that's a package, I mean, to do something. So you can see that in your system library, there are so many packages that are contained in your system library, but only the ones which have a tick mark against them, they are the ones that are, loaded in your current session. So current session means that right now when I'm using R, so this is counted as a current session where I'm working on this R file, which is demo underscore script, right? So this is the current session that in the current session, only these packages are loaded, which have a tick mark against, right? So if I want to, let's say, load some other package, so what I can do is, since I removed dplyr, so let me just reinstall it again. Again, the pop-up. Um, yeah, it asked me this, right? So I'm just waiting for a few more seconds. Right. So it is now downloaded. Now it will be in my systems library. I can just do so by clicking, by searching here also, and you can see, right? I have this package as a part of my system library. And now to load it, I can just simply click on this, and it will, load the package in my current session, right? So I can do that. And another way of doing it by just writing this command library and just type dplyr. Load this. So it tells you that it is being loaded, right? It has been loaded now, right? So this was all in installation and loading packages and removing packages as well. So just understand that to perform some calculations, you may have to use some functions, and these functions are contained in various packages in R. And we have now learned how to install package through two different ways. The same goes for how to load a package and how to remove a package, right? So this can be, I can just type out the command. I can just type out the comments here. So let's say I use this used for installing a package, right? And I can just put a comment here also, used for loading a package in my current session. It here used for removing a package, right? So these helpful comments, I mean, the next time I open R, this will help me to understand why did I even do this, right? So some of the commands are quite intuitive, such as install packages. It is quite clear that what it's doing, right? It's helping you to install some package in R. But then let's say something related to library and dplyr, it's not that intuitive, in a way that you don't understand what does it exactly mean, right? So you can just comment it out and understand, and just don't come across any confusion in your next session. So if I just type it out, the comment, I can just simply look at it and understand why I used this package and this function for, right? So this was it for today, and now we are going to be briefly looking at the R markdown view that Mona is going to be showing you. Before that, are there any questions for this uh, in the session that I finished just now? Any questions, any queries, anything that you have not understood? Please feel free to ask.
You can unmute yourself and ask or put it in chat if you want.
Yes, please. Would love to listen to some of you. Like, please do that. Okay. So I'll just summarize, then maybe Munna can take over. So today we got started in R. We looked at different sections in R, which includes console, that is used to see the output, which includes the environment, which is used to see the variables, and then another section is this package plot section, which is used to see the packages here. Then we learned how to do some basic calculations in R. R can work with simple operators as well as logical operators as well. And then we also learned about variables and how to assign variables in R and how to print their information, and also to know what type of variable we have assigned value to. I mean, what is the nature of these variables. Then we also learned how to load data set in R, both, right, pre-existing data set in R which already comes as a part of the package, and also we also loaded a data set from our devices, right? So we learned that. And then finally we looked at packages, what are they, how to install them, how to uninstall them and remove them, and how to even load them in the current session, right? So now over to you, Munna. Please continue with R Markdown.